Hello and welcome to Unmute, the weekly talk show with guests from around the world. We talk about anything from food to raunchy sex stories and anything in between. So let's kickstart tonight's show with my alleged Irish friend Jonathan from North Carolina. Now, Jonathan, you tell me that you're Irish, but you sound like you're a hillbilly from the States. What's going on?
I have no idea, Simon. I really don't know. I guess got the accent from the past 4 years.
Okay, so you lost your Irish accent and gained a hillbilly accent over 4 years.
Correct.
That's pretty impressive. So what we normally do is tonight's a little bit different. So we are enjoying a beer together. Jonathan's not on cam with us today. He couldn't join us on cam, so we just get to enjoy his voice, which isn't Irish.
Yeah, something that I definitely don't want to do with you.
So what we do is we'll have a quick round of quickfire questions. So I'll ask you a few things. Just answer them as quickly as you can. Then we can move on, and we've got another game that we're going to play together. Yeah, let's start this then. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What's the first thing that you do as soon as you wake up?
Make coffee.
What's your favorite cake flavor?
Red velvet.
What's the first thing you notice about somebody when you meet them for the first time?
If they're asshole or not.
You notice if they're an asshole on the first time?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you quickly friend somebody, or you become a frenemy?
Correct.
So what about me? What am I an asshole?
You really don't want to know the answer to that question.
I won't know the answer to that question. But tell me.
Well, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Okay, I'll take it. It's not so bad. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Impatient.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, impatient. I will have to say precise, because everything I do, it has to be exactly the way it needs to be done. Also hardworking.
Okay. What is something that people misunderstand about you?
If I'm actually an asshole, I guess you could say. Because sometimes, I mean, it might come out sounding the wrong way towards somebody. So I don't mean it that way. I'm only joking with it.
Are you sure?
Not really.
If you had to pick your last meal, what would it be?
Shepherd's pie.
Oh, that's a good choice. I'm going to say that's a good British choice, but obviously Irish as well. So, I mean, I would have expected more of like an Irish stew, actually. Seeing you say that you're Irish.
I mean, Irish stew is good. Depends on which one you try. But for me, with the hot weather, I really don't like eating really hot foods on certain weather days.
So hot foods when it's cold.
Correct.
One social issue you really care about.
Peace in the world.
Okay. Why do you care about that so much?
There is a lot of nonsense death going on. If everybody would understand that we are all humans and that we are no different from each other, maybe personalities and other things as well, But in the long term, we are no different than each other. We are all humans. We should be able to get along, believe what we want, no matter what God you believe in, no matter what religion. And that's why I'm grateful for the people that serves in the military. But at the same time, wars is not good for humanity.
So I'm
And
shocked.
that's
I'm shocked because the funny that we found each other. We met in a war game, and you like to kill anything and everything. So I wouldn't have took that answer from you. I would have expected you to say allowing people to carry 50 caliber bolt action sniper rifles.
I definitely don't agree with that.
have target practice in the back garden. Thank you for sharing that with us anyway. That's it was surprising, but I like it. It was really good. Very commendable. So yeah, well done. So let's move on then. So this is another game you may or may not have heard of it. But it's called Never Have I Ever.
Yep, I've heard of it.
Okay, so I will fire out these questions. Now, I have a beer in my hand, and the viewers can see. So this is how it works. You have a beer in your hand.
Yes, I do.
Now I'm gonna have to take your word for it. So I'm gonna read off a statement, and each statement there's between 5 and 10 depending on how we do the time. If that statement is false, so if I said never have I ever woke up in the morning, obviously you've woke up in the morning, so you have a drink. But you're gonna have to tell us when you have a drink.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Never have I ever taken a sick day off just to sleep more.
Never.
Never have I ever snuck into a movie theater. Got my words mixed up in my mouth then.
Yep.
Never have I ever sent a raunchy text to the wrong person.
Never. Was it your mom?
Funny you say that, it actually was. I text my mum a little earlier in the day, and I just picked my phone up and I started sending this text message, and I hit send, and I went, "Oh crap!" Yeah, it was a bit embarrassing, hard to explain. Never have I ever cheated in a board game.
Yep.
What game did you cheat in?
Monopoly.
Oh, me too, funny enough. It was a quick toilet break, and that's quick, couple of 500s. Came back, and all of a sudden I was winning.
Usually more of mine was sleight of hand. I would move their piece back while they were rolling.
Never have I ever been nude in public.
Never. Shit.
So you've never been nude ever?
Never. Not in public.
So I got dared when I was a bit younger to cartwheel through the high street naked. Naturally, after a few drinks, I did. Little did I know there's cameras in the high street, so everybody got a good view.
Did you block out the sun?
I think I'm drinking. Am I drinking more than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So far.
Never have I ever ordered restaurant food for guests and said that I made it.
Never.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Something I should try though.
What can you cook? What can you cook? Tell me. Tell me something.
Man, I
Tell me
can
your
burn
tell me
water.
your tell me your most famous dish that you cook.
Burnt water.
Burnt water. So you should try this, definitely. 100% you should try this. Order something really good next time you've got a lady friend, and make sure it gets there in good time. And tell them to use the back door. And you can leave the money in the tip there. You can quickly dish up, and when she comes in, you'll be like, "Oh, what I made for you." Just dirty some dishes and leave them there. Never have I ever, never have I ever shaved my head.
Now, when you say shave, are you talking about close shave with the razor?
blade.
Oh, no, never.
What?
No.
Really? Okay, I have.
Yep.
I was 18. Thought it'd be cool to shave my head. Well, I did it in the middle of December. In the UK, it's very cold, snowy, and I had a woolly hat on, and it had like a fleece lining. So every time I took it off, there was like fur. It looked like I had little cream furry hair. So I'm guessing that the reason why you've never done it is because you're balding anyway, so you've got nothing up there.
Yeah, bald on top.
Naturally bald.
Yep, naturally bald.
Never have I ever sang it in public.
Yep.
Where?
At school.
At school. Okay.
We had, yep. And that's about it.
What did you sing?
It's been so long I can't remember.
Come on. That sort of memory sticks. Come on.
It was Christmas. It was Christmas songs, to be honest with you.
Sing us a Christmas song.
I just can't remember. Huh?
Sing us a Christmas song.
Negative.
Never have I ever laughed so hard that I spat out my drink.
Yep.
Now tell me, did you spit it out your mouth or did it come out of the nose?
Both.
Was it a fizz? Please tell me it's a fizzy drink.
Yes, it was.
Does it? It stings. It stings so hard when it comes out your nose. Oh my god. I've done that so many times. So many times. Somebody always catches you just as you're mid-swig. Just as you're about to neck it back, and then somebody says something, and you can't help, with a really immature sense of humor, you can't help but laugh. It could be something simple. They could just break wind, just sat next to you as you're taking a sip, and have a big fart, and gone. Right. Well, whatever drink you've got left, let's finish it up now. And then we'll move on to our purpose for being here, onto the segment.
All right, no problem.
Which is called "Shut Her Up." So let's go through these slides that you've sent us.
Yep. All right. So this one, even though it's a very basic picture, it's actually the very first picture I've ever taken.
Okay.
It was taken with a point and shoot camera with a built-in adjustable lens, and it was made by Kodak.
Okay.
And this is before I even knew exactly what shutter speed, ISO, exposure times as well. This was
Do you
shot
even know
on.
now?
Yeah, I definitely know
I'm
now.
joking. I'm joking. So you say that you took this, and this isn't a typical picture that somebody would just take with a camera normally. What made you get into photography? I'm curious because I'm also into photography, so it'd be nice to know how you got into it.
Ways to help keep my mind busy, keep myself going on my days off from work.
Yeah.
And I saw a few pictures on Facebook actually. I can't remember the person's name, but I saw one of his videos and saw a bunch of pictures that he took. And I was like, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna get me a camera and just try.
These were safe for work photos, correct?
Yep, these are safe for work.
Okay, that's fine. Just checking because you never know what part of Facebook you're on. So that must have been within the last. So Facebook, I believe, has been going now for maybe about 16 or 17 years, probably slightly longer, but not much. So
yep.
So, and obviously you're not that old, so you would have been relatively young. So I'm old. So Facebook came out when I'd already left school and I was living on my own, and I was already into photography at that point. So, yeah, it's nice to get a different perspective on where people get it. So let's move on to the next slide. Now this is your sort of color.
Nah, this ain't my sort of color. It would look good if you wore it on your shirt, though.
On my shirt, I tell you what, if I get 200 subscribers on YouTube, I will buy a bright pink shirt and I will wear it on that podcast. I'll buy the brightest pink shirt possible, and I will wear it on the podcast after getting 100 subscribers, and I'll dedicate it to you, Jonathan.
All right.
So yeah, let's talk about this one.
It was shot on. This is right after I bought the Canon 80D.
Yeah.
And I was shooting with a 35 millimeter macro lens.
Okay.
And this is when I was starting to get into the knowledge of ISO, shutter speed, and stuff like that. I had to set up a tripod for this one, a small tripod, just to take this photo.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother used to love flowers.
Yeah.
And so that's where I got the idea of taking macro photography of flowers.
Okay. So that's a really sweet story. So you got into photography, and because of your grandmother's love for flowers, that pushed you into taking photos of flowers in macro, so you can get the full detail of them.
Correct.
That's really sweet. Have you taken many? Have you progressed yourself throughout the time that you've been doing it? Have you been focused more on that, or have you just sort of been a bit more broad of your spectrum of photography and gone all over the place?
I have tried many things so far, to be honest with you. I've tried different types of photography, trying to figure out which one I am best at. And macro happens to be one of the ones that I'm really good at.
So, but portraiture, I didn't get any portraiture photos of you, and I'm glad, because if it was anything like the way that I'd actually introduced you, you would have been shooting people and taking off their heads. So I'm glad we didn't get any of those. I was expecting one or two shoulder shots.
Nah, I wouldn't say nothing like that, because I would start to question what you would use them for.
No, I've got those for myself. That's my regular selfie. I always go from below the neck. Sometimes I get the beard involved, but it doesn't go above the beard normally. So let's move on then. So we've got another one here. So this obviously broadens the spectrum a bit more.
Yep. All right. So this is actually photograph. All right. So
it's not,
the
is
photograph. Yeah, my bad. But
are you sure it's a photograph?
my bad. Up here at by my house, there's a small local airport,
Hmm.
and I had special permission from the supervisor to actually go in there and take photographs
Okay.
of airplanes. And this one, when the guy finally landed, the backstory of the plane was that it was his father's, and he used it during World War II. And so during World War II, the United States said, "Hey, here's your plane. Being that you're in the Air Force, go fight, whatever you got to do." And then as soon as he got out of the military, he went back to actually buy the plane from the United States government.
Okay.
And when he passed away, he passed it on to his son. And his son got it and actually repainted it, and also did the mechanical work on it as well. And so that day I was able to actually get a pretty rare shot of one of these planes.
That's incredible. So the guy brought it from the military, and his son inherited it. He fixed it. He made it his own, and you got a chance to capture that. That's incredible.
Yep. And matter of fact, the guy that flew that day was not even this airport. His hangar is not at this airport. He was actually from, I think it was an hour or two away from where I live.
Okay.
And so it's not too often that you actually get to see this plane.
Well, it's a good job you had your camera with you, because
Yep.
yeah, as you say, it's not very often you get to see it. Um, so at least you got that. So for this photo here, so you spoke about using a 35mm macro in the last one. What equipment did you use for this?
It was still shot with the Canon 80D,
Hmm.
and it was shot with I want to say it was 35 to 75, if I'm not mistaken, millimeter.
Okay.
Somewhere, something like that. I can't remember the exact millimeter for that lens because it's not a lens that I use too often.
Um, Before we move on to the next slide, so when you're photographing planes, and I mean I've not taken too many of planes, although I have, but not too many. But for people that are looking to get into photography, tell me, have you got any tips for those that don't know what they're doing and want to learn and to get into it for shooting things like moving vehicles, airplanes, anything moving, fast cars?
Yes. All right. So you really want a fast shutter speed
Hmm.
whenever you're taking these photographs, and you don't want to use a tripod mount at all. You want to freehand the photograph as best you can.
Hmm.
You want to turn up your actual I forgot what it's called. Um,
The
but it's
aperture.
how many frames you can get per
Oh,
second.
the shooting speed. So you'd have it on a
Yep,
constant shooting speed.
correct.
Yeah.
And so whenever you're taking these photographs, you actually have to hold down that shutter button the whole time while you following whatever it may be that's moving. So that way you can go back through later on when you're on your computer or even on your phone and be able to pick out the best photos out of that whole set.
So now, if you had one shot, just one shot, and you had a plane flying by or a car driving past, how would you approach that one shot?
The way I would approach it is, like I said, have the shutter speed up, but also while you are tracking it, you want to make sure that your focus is in where it's supposed to be while it's approaching.
Hmm.
So if your target that you are shooting at is 100 meters away and you want to get it in frame at 50 meters, you kind of have to do a little bit of guesswork
Hmm.
with your focusing. And once it gets into that plane of view where it's focused, you want to immediately hit that shutter button. That's where you need the fast shutter speed, your ISO, and everything else.
Hmm. Okay. let's move on then. So here we go. We've got another one here. Now, is this at the same airport or is this a different airport?
This is the same exact airport.
Okay.
And this photo right here, when they landed, they had some mechanical issues going on, and
I was going to say, it looks like they're
two of
working
them,
on their rear end a little bit there.
yep. And so two of them actually drove. There's a military base about 45 minutes away from where I live. Two of them actually drove up here, and they were dropped off. Well, they actually had to stay, and this is I find this quite funny. Even though I have respect for people in the military, I think it's still quite funny. They were actually forgotten about, and they actually had to stay up there at the airport until they could actually get somebody to come up here and pick them back up.
That's crazy. We're getting a little bit short on time now, so I'm going to move this one along. We've got one final slide here. I will bring this one a little more into zoom, into focus on the screen for the viewers to see. So, tell us about this one.
That is the photo of the Andromeda galaxy.
Okay.
That takes a lot of patience. Takes a lot of time. This was taken with the Canon 80D with a 800 millimeter Canon telephoto lens, and it was on a Star Tracker mount. And the website that you actually gave me to help with the biased and non-biased photos, and it is comprised of 10 photos combined together. Now the Andromeda galaxy is actually not that color, so I actually had to change the color a little bit because I wanted something of my own. I didn't want something everybody else has.
So just so the viewers get a perspective of this, so you require multiple images, and you talked about a website. Now I know enough about that one. I can very briefly run over it if you want me to, or you can run over it if you feel comfortable doing so.
I don't have enough experience on that website. You can do that.
So when you're taking any astrophotography, you need to take as many frames as you can. The more frames the better, because you layer the frames. You also require bias frames, dark frames, light frames, and there is one other one, flat frames, which are all different. So they basically take out all of the imperfections in the lens and in the mirror, and it layers all those together with that, so it takes out any imperfection, so you actually get a true image of what you're using, of what you're taking a photo of. So and like Jonathan said, you require a star tracker, because the Earth is constantly working on its axis, and so are obviously the galaxies around. So the star tracker actually moves very slowly with the Earth's orbit, so in an opposite rotation, to keep it in the same position, so you don't actually get stretched and blurred stars, because you have to use a very long exposure time, usually when you're taking a picture of this type. I think I covered that one pretty well.
Yep, that pretty much covered.
So let's just we've got some producers' puns to give you now. Now, make her feel good if they crap still laugh. So let's quickly go over these with you. So I tried to take a picture of some fog this morning, but I missed.
That I don't even know what to say.
I had to give up my career in photography because I kept losing focus.
Sounds like the producer.
One of my friends is a keen photographer. In fact, that's all she talks about. You can't shut her up.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll give her that one. Okay. Photographers can be really mean people. They frame you, they shoot you, and then they hang you from the wall. Finally, just to let you know and the viewers know that the jokes are intentionally terrible on this podcast. It's just a bit of fun. That's all we have for today. I want to thank all of the viewers for joining us. I want to thank Jonathan, give Jonathan a very special thanks for being here with us. And don't forget to join our show next time, where we will be talking stocks. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.